Guys, I still have this echo that I can't get rid of. I've soundproofed the entire garage. There's towels hanging up everywhere. I'm pretty much inside a box with towels. I don't know where the echo is coming from. I don't know if it's just in my head, but I definitely can hear it in the intro and outro. But that's not what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about the TS383 by Tucson. Great knife that was a gift from one of the paying members, Winston Cobretti. I've actually carried it a lot, so it's been a quick turnaround. So I have to get a review done so I get it out of my pocket so I can review some other stuff. So we're gonna look at some specs, we're gonna look at some size comparisons, we're gonna do a bunch of different stuff, we're gonna talk about how I used it and stuff like that, but we're not gonna do any of that here. We're gonna turn this around and take a look at it from above, but first, turn down the volume because here comes a little bit of music. All right, guys, we are going to take a good look at this. This is the Tucson TS383. This is a great knife. I just finished resharpening it because it got used a lot, and it's going to wind up going on the shelf until I need it for a 5 Fast or some other compilation video. So let's go ahead and get some specs and stuff out of the way, and then we'll take a quick look at it. So this is an 8.46 inch knife that's done with a 3.46 inch drop point flat ground stone wash and satin 14C28N blade. The blade stock thickness they have listed on this, like I said, 3.46 inches, not a small blade. So blade stock thickness they have listed on this is 0.15. Let's go ahead and get the calipers out and take a good look at that and the behind the edge thickness. All right, I did verify that I zeroed these. So like I said, they have it listed as 0.15 blade stock thickness. These do vary because things get done in finishing and things like that. But yeah, we're looking at 0.1485, 1490, right there. There you go, as it came off, 0.015. Let's go ahead and look at the behind the edge thickness because this knife is super thin and slicey. And yes, I know that I had stopped doing some of these. 0.0195 behind the edge thickness on this. I had stopped doing some of the specs and things on paper, but some people complained, and so I decided to bring it back and see how everybody felt about it. So handle length on this, you're looking at 4.88 inches. Like I said, overall length of 8.46. Gray titanium with titanium pocket clip and backspacer. I do believe, I'm checking it again, I do believe that these are steel screws though. Yeah, those are steel screws that are in this. Steel pivot, steel screws, titanium backspacer. This knife is coming in right at 4.44 ounces, but let's get the scale and take a good look at it. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the weight on this. So for those of you that don't use Freedom units, we'll do it in grams first. So in grams, this is a pretty light knife, 124 grams. In ounces, you are looking at, like I said, they said 4.44, 4 3/8 ounces. You know, my scale's not super accurate, so let's go ahead and get this out of the way and take a closer look at this knife now that we've got all the specs out of the way. All right, all the boring stuff's out of the way. So this knife came to me from Beardo the Weird, or not Beardo the Weirdo, I'm sorry, Winston Cobretti. He's a paying member. It's a Tucson. It's heavily milled. This knife is super light because not only is this milled on the outside, it's milled on the inside as well. We had it apart once and looked. You can see that that has been hollowed out inside on both sides of this, so it's really thin right here. And then there's also pocketed areas for weight reduction down here. You can see it's got carried a lot of lint in it. This thing has been hollowed out and lightened everywhere you can imagine, and what that does for it is it gives it a really nice balance, really light feel in hand. It does not really feel like you're carrying anything at all. It carries like a dream. Now, there's a couple down things I'm going to talk about at the end. So let's talk about some good things. Let's talk about the good first, and then we'll get into some of the things that kind of bother me. Ergos on this knife are incredibly good. They align you to the cut. It feels good in hand. There is just the right amount of meat there to hold on to. You get a little bit of grip here where your hands drop down into that. It's really, it gives you some tactile feel. It just feels secure in your hand. The blade is not too long, and so you still have maintained really good control of it. It's got some jimping here. The jimping's not real sharp. It's almost, it's just there for show pretty much. It's vestigial, just for looks. But you've got this large flat where you can get up on it, get right up against the flipper tab, and have really good purchase on this knife, and it feels really secure in hand. It has a balance point. You know, the center of gravity is a little bit forward of the pivot. So in hand, you know where the tip of that blade is, the front of the blade is. For work purposes, you don't have to kind of eyeball it and see where your knife is. You can feel it at all times with that little bit of weight forward. The action on it, super, super smooth. It's another one of those knives, a lot like the Brown Cortex, was the first one I remember seeing that has the stop pin on the blade, so it travels with the blade, and it's open in here. That's kind of a plus and a minus. You know, you can wind up getting stuff down in here. It's a lot like the one on the Grimstone Norseman, where it's a half moon, but instead of it being fully enclosed, it's just open here at these points. But that can allow you to get stuff down in there that could affect your lockup. You know, your stop pin not able to get all the way in and prevent it from opening all the way. I have not had that issue, but the nice thing is, even if it does happen, you should be able to clean it out pretty easily with a toothpick or something like this. I figure this is one of those knives that's gonna be pretty easy to clean out and take care of in maintenance without having to take it apart, because the other nice thing is you have easy access to your bearings right there. So if you want to just, instead of taking it apart, you want to just rinse this thing under the sink, dry it out real good, and put a couple new drops of lubricant in there, absolutely does work. Like I said, action on this, super smooth and free. It's not quite drop shut, but you can convince it with just a jiggle. The machining on it was done really, really well. I'm not a fan of the logo being right there, but I mean, of all the things, that's not a bad looking logo. I can get by it. The blade is finished really, really well. So you have a stone wash and a satin on your swedge. This thing is ground really well. Really nice distal taper, comes down nice and thin. The swedges are pretty consistent. I think this one is a little bit more ground in than this one at the very point, but you know, hey, I'll tell you the price point when we get done with it. Lock bar tension's just about perfect. Detent on it is just enough that it flies open nice and free. Pocket clip is really comfortable in hand, not an issue at all. And then, like I said, on top of just the fit and finish and how well it was machined, you have got some of the best edge and blade geometry on this. When this came, it did not come very sharp. It really was not very sharp, and I still was able to scream through cardboard. This thing cuts like a laser, even with the edge being dull. And I didn't realize it when it first came. I just thought, you know, hey, a lot of knives don't cut great on thicker cardboard, but it was doing better than most knives. Still screamed through cardboard. And then I got to looking at it. I was like, well, this thing's not even really sharp. Now that it's sharp, I've done a pretty good edge on this. I used my Arkansas stone on 14C28N. It seems to do really, really well, a natural Arkansas stone. Terrifyingly sharp, toothy, aggressive edge. I know Jared did a video about tooth on edges. I'm going to do one as well, because I just, you know, I like that kind of video, so I am going to be doing one of those. But yeah, that's a really good stone for this steel. Does a great job. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the negative things, and then I'll tell you how I've used this and carried it. Some of the negatives, the pocket clip is really long. I'm usually not a fan of these big, long pocket clips. That pocket clip, I know why they didn't make it shorter, because if it had been any shorter, it would have been in this lock bar cutout, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. So that making it long, at least they put forethought in it. You guys saw the video I did, you know, knife sins, pocket clips. At least this was thought out, that you weren't having a pocket clip in a bad spot. The pocket clip is really comfortable, except it is a little long. It gets caught on things. I have had this catch on the seatbelt already. I managed to not bend it out, but it was catching on my seatbelt because it is long. It sticks down further on the pocket. There is a little bit, if you're wearing bulky pants, I had some 911s on the other day, that material will get down in here and it kind of binds up, but this pocket clip being as loose as it is, really didn't have an issue. Now, here comes the thing. If you were to do this, I wish companies would do this lock bar recess for your relief, for you to actually establish your spring, put it on the inside. And then you don't have to worry about, oh, well, my pocket clip has to be this long because I've got to account for this area. Just do it on the inside, the same thing on the inside instead of the outside, and you've got no issue with it. Problem I have with this pocket clip, the only issue I have with this pocket clip, it is a little bit light on tension. In jeans, it's okay. It still walks in jeans. In like I said, 911s, thicker material, it holds great. In a pair of like shorts or track pants, this just wobbles around, it walks around, it just wants to go where it wants to go. It actually worked its way up out of my pocket when I was sitting down, it pushed itself out, it didn't catch, and it fell into my chair. So I would say that that is one of the things that I would like to see done different. Take this material off the inside, and then use a shorter pocket clip, because a shorter pocket clip, even this style pocket clip, is gonna give you more tension because it's shorter. This is a really thin pocket clip, and you can see there's no real tension on that at all. It doesn't take much, even though it's bowed pretty heavily. The lanyard hole is a pain. I would be perfectly fine if this did not exist. If this came down and was rounded down and there was like a lanyard post inside the backspacer, I'd been much happier with that. And then the last thing, the only last thing, and see, this is where it bothers me. It gets into my hand right there. And if I like to carry knives, waistband carry, I can't do that with this because this pokes up and it bothers me. And like I said, last thing, it did not come real sharp, but those are the only negatives. Those are the only negative things I have to say about it. I carried this thing all the time because it is super comfortable to carry. It cuts so well. This is probably the best cutting knife I've had come in. Now, is it my favorite knife so far of 2022? No, I have to say that my favorite knife so far of 2022 is the PMP Big Boy that came in from the same person. Very similar. I just find this a little bit more comfortable. I even like the pocket clip a little better, even though this pocket clip moves. But just like all around, this just feels like a better knife to me. I do have to say though, I think that this cuts better than this. I think it has just a little bit thinner edge geometry, blade geometry behind the edge than this, and it just cuts a lot better. But I mean, overall, look at it. You have that really attractive. Tucson does a good job with their aesthetics. Their pivots are nice looking. There's just a little bit of flash and pop there. There's that noise. It is the refrigerator. It's making ice. There we go. They're doing stuff that's kind of outside of the box. So let's get a couple knives and we'll do some size comparison and you guys can go about your day. All right, our first knife comparison, because so many people know it and it's similar in size. It's actually a little bit smaller. The Benchmade 940. It's been out on a bench because I shot that video about the rebladed one from Brian over at Transparent Knives. So the Benchmade 940, it's a good bit bigger than a Benchmade 940, but the Benchmade 940 is not a huge knife. Your next comparison is going to be the Spyderco Endura. I grabbed this because they are very similar in length. So you can see right there, not a little knife. It's also not huge. The Spyderco Endura is not a little knife, but it's not huge. And then the last knife is the one that's currently in my pocket that I've been carrying since Monday night, which is this horrific nightmare of a knife. This is the Alit Edge Spider knife. You can see this is a big knife, big and ugly. So there you go. There's some comparisons. So there you go, guys. There it is. This is a great knife. Has a lot of things going for it. And at the price point, $88.99. The only place I found it was on White Mountain Vibes, but it was out of stock. So you're looking at just under $90. And I'm going to tell you, you're getting a lot for that price. So you really couldn't go wrong with this. Like I said, really good action, really good ergos. Pocket clip leaves a little bit to be desired, and it didn't real sharp. But other than that, quality package. I have not had to adjust the pivot. It has stayed nice and tight, and the action is pretty free and smooth. So there you go, guys. Let's turn this around and do some final thoughts. So like I said, not a lot of negative things to say about this knife. Really awesome slicer, super thin, good steel. And the ergos on it are really good. Only a couple small little minor things that I had to say about it. So Yeah, guys, that's it on this one. If you like the content, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the content, give it a thumbs down, but please try to tell me why. I can't change it if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit that bell icon, get notified of everything I put out. I put out at least 2 items a day. One time, sometimes it's a live, sometimes it's 2 pre-recorded videos, but at least 2 videos a day, Monday through Friday. Other ways you can support the channel, if you want to, they're financial ways. You can go down into the description below, get in on a membership. I have a tier-based membership. 3 different tiers have distinct different benefits. Pick the tier that suits you best, but remember, everyone saves $5 off my sharpening service, and everyone has access to my gilded server if you're a paying member. Premium tier members have access to a sharpening tutorial series. Other ways you can do it, I have affiliate links down below where I have links to knives and tools and all kinds of stuff. Knives, tools, stones, anything you would really want to think about. I have a couple other things down there, including a coffee company and a VPN that I have affiliate links for. A final way you can do it is I have a merchandise store. Anything you purchase on Ember Shirt Co., I can save you 10% at checkout with my coupon code CrazySharp. Capital C, capital S, all one word. CrazySharp saves you 10% at checkout. And if you send me pictures of you wearing my merchandise, I will put them in a video. Guys, I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I will see you in the next video.